All right. So the Vancouver Canucks. So obviously this year, heading into the season, there was not very high expectations for the Canucks. Um, well, Elias Pettersson, Elias Pettersson, remember that name? Elias Pettersson, whatever it is. He is a really good hockey player, and he reminds me a lot of this is more my personal, but he reminds me of Matt Barzal. Um, he is just he's a guy that when you draft him, you figure he's going to be good. Obviously, the Islanders got Barzell later, blah blah blah. But they're going to look back at that draft, and I think he's probably going to be one of the guys, possibly number one or two, or three. I think he was picked fifth or sixth. Actually, he might have been fourth. I'm not sure, but I mean, he's a guy that he is. I mean, his numbers. 53 points in 48 games. That's unbelievable. And the Canucks really needed a guy like him to come in and just be lights out. And he's done that. And then you look at a guy like Markstrom. 22 wins in 44 games. I mean that could be better. Could be worse. A 278 save percentage and a 910 goals against. Did I really just do that? A 278 goals against and a 910 save percentage. So, I mean, his career numbers, he has a better save percentage, weaker save percentage at a 908. But his goals against average is higher at 282. So, both those stats, I mean, they're better. He's playing really well this year, and not by a huge margin, but, with the way these stats work, it's the difference between an 890 and a 910. There's a fairly big difference there. So every point counts with that. Um, and Demko, Thatcher Demko. Hopefully he's been given the future guy for the Vancouver Canucks. We've seen how well that's worked out. Being an Islander fan, yeah, DiPietro. Yep, that's gonna work. Uh, 16 games played, 8 wins, a 258 goals against, and a 911 save percentage in Utica. So again, he's putting up numbers not far from Jacob Markstrom. The American Hockey League, they have some wacky games. They have a lot more games with 9, 10 goals, 5, 6 goals than the NHL. Um, and that's a brutal league. It's a grind. I mean, it's very different than the NHL. Just little things, there's no planes. You get bust. You get bust around, and you know, like I said, I've said it in other videos. The AHL works differently, where you could be playing in a city, Springfield per se, Springfield, Massachusetts. You could be in Hershey. Then you're from Hershey. You go to Springfield for Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, and you're playing all three of those games. So back to back in the NHL, yeah, that's tough. In the American Hockey League, it's a real grind, and you could be playing, every weekend 3 games in a row, and that's brutal. And for goaltenders, that's tough. I don't think they play all three, but it's probably the backup will play the second game, the starter will play games 1 and 3, but I digress. Um, Olli Levy, obviously, it's a disappointing season for him. They're hoping for him to be in the lineup this year, and again, this is one of those guys that creates something where Tanev and Edler being available this deadline, where the Canucks are, I mean, I'm surprised there isn't more talk about those guys getting moved, to be completely honest. I'm not sure what the market is for them, but I know Tanev is, I mean, teams have been interested in Tanev, but now the problem is you have a guy like Olli Levy who gets knee surgery in December and is out for 6 months. That there's a wide open gaping hole in that lineup, and you don't have a guy like Levy to fill that. trading a guy like Tanev or Edler. So, but 13 points in 18 games in Utica this year. So while he's been in Utica and actually playing, he's played well. But again, I mean, a knee again. It's a knee injury, and that's concerning. And it's starting to get to the point now where you look at the guys that are starting to pass him in that draft, and maybe Vancouver made a mistake with Levy. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I just want to talk about the Canucks for a couple minutes, give them a little love. They played really well this year, and it's also been too that not a lot was expected of the Canucks this year, but you know what? It's impressive, and the way Pettersson's been playing. Obviously, you would hope a little more from Brock Besser this year, based off of how we played last year. And being a competitor for Matt Barzal for the Calder last year, he's fallen off a little bit this year. But you know what? It's not the end of the world. And looking at the future, Quinn Hughes, he's hoping to join Vancouver this year. At the end of his season with Michigan in the NCAA. So again, these are things. This is what creates some interesting plot points for Tanev and Edler, because I mean, if Quinn Hughes comes in, do they want him in the bottom pairing? I mean, it depends on what the Canucks see in this kid, and actually Quinn Hughes made the decision last year that he really was interested. He really wanted to play in Michigan last year, or for this season, to win a NCAA championship. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I just wanted give a little love to the Canucks, and show that we appreciate how well they're playing. And I mean, the way that that conference is wide open, they may find a way to sneak into the playoffs. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe and give it a like. And I hope to speak to you again soon.